Here's some fun decor things to do with items from the Dollar Tree for Easter or spring. I went to the party section at the Dollar Tree and I got this egg tray for deviled eggs. And I took some of my metallic finish copper spray paint and I just spray painted the whole thing. I did not do the back. It's clear, so I just did the front and it showed through. And once that was dry, I took my Folk Art Home Decor Crackle, and that's a clear medium. So I applied that liberally over the egg tray, and then I let that thoroughly dry. And then I put some white chalked paint over it, just Rust-Oleum chalked paint. And as you can see, that crackle makes that chalked paint literally crackle. Once that was completely dry, I then took some Dollar Tree eggs basically and I painted them just different colors, and then I took my paper clay out, I rolled it pretty thin, and I got my Iron Orchid Design stamps out, and basically I just stamped SPRING for spring. And then I took my Titebond Thick and Quick glue and just did a very light coat of glue with a paintbrush on the back of each one of the letters, and then I adhered them to the egg. And I let the eggs dry overnight so that that clay could dry, that glue could dry, and this is the next day. So once they were dry, I got to painting. And again, just went over all the eggs with different Wise Owl colors. And then I had this little guy I just printed off of the internet, and I just cut him out, and I used some Mod Podge in the middle and just basically decoupaged him in the middle. I went over everything with this clear finish. Once that clear finish was dry, I took out my DIY black wax, and then I waxed everything. And what this is going to do is it's going to get down in all those little nooks and crannies, and then I just take my paper towel and I gently wipe it off the high points, so that leaves that wax down in those little cracks and the impressions that I made with the stamps and whatnot. So just kind of aged it a little bit, give it kind of more of an antique-y, vintage kind of feel. So this is kind of what they look like after everything's waxed. And then I did want to add a bow on the bottom. I also did add some Spanish moss, which you can actually get at the Dollar Tree as well. So I just glued that down into the 3 open, like I didn't put eggs in the bottom 3, and I just put Spanish moss in there. And then I made the bow and then glued that on with Gorilla Hot Glue, threw on a hanger, and voila. We have this really cute little egg platter for spring decor. Now I did too, I'm going to show you guys really quick. I did take like a little dip and chip tray. It's got like 3 little whatevers. I don't know what you call it. Here it is. This thing, yeah. And I basically did the same thing. I just sprayed it with some copper spray paint. Once that dried, went over it with a crackle, let that dry, went over it with chalked paint, which then crackled. And I just did some vintage Easter printouts off of the internet. Cut those out and just decoupaged them on the inside of these trays with Mod Podge. And then just added some more of that moss and some little springy flowers and foliage I had from various places like Hobby Lobby and the dollar store or whatnot. So very cute. It turned out a lot better actually than I expected. So, but these were just 2 fun little spring Easter decor items I had on my brain and thought, well, why not? Let's see if we can make this work. So relatively cheap to make. Like I said, I mean, printables off the internet and Dollar Tree stuff. So yeah, basically the only really spendy thing was the paints and the wax. But I mean, you guys can use whatever paints you want for this project. And that's it. Very, very cute.